Well folks, it finally happened. The highest court in the land, the big kahunas of justice, the Supreme Court has spoken. And what did they say? TikTok, you're out of here. Okay, maybe not in those exact words, but you get the gist. They basically upheld a law that says TikTok has got to be sold to a US company or face the music, which in this case is a nationwide ban. Why? National security, they reckon? Apparently all those dance videos and cat memes are a bigger threat than we thought. Who knew, right? So, what's this whole national security thing about? Well, the gavel bangers are worried about TikTok's parent company, ByteDance. They're based in China, see? And the US government isn't too keen on the idea of a Chinese company having access to the data of millions of Americans. You know, things like what you like, what you watch, who you follow, basically, all the juicy bits that make you, well, you. This isn't the first time TikTok's been in hot water. Remember back in 2020 when India gave it the boot? Yeah, same story, different country. Now, the US is following suit. The law's been on the books for a while now, passed back in April 2024 when Biden was still calling the shots. But now, with the clock ticking and the deadline looming, January 19th, mark your calendars folks, things are getting real. So there you have it. TikTok, the app that launched 1,000 dance crazes and made lip-syncing a national pastime, is facing the axe. Will it survive? Will a knight in shining armor ride in to save the day? Or will it go the way of the dodo, another casualty in the digital age? Stay tuned, folks. Things are about to get interesting. Let's rewind a bit, shall we? This whole TikTok saga didn't just spring up overnight. It's been a long and winding road filled with twists and turns, legal battles, and political posturing. So buckle up, folks, as we take a trip down memory lane. First stop, 2020. Remember when the world went a little crazy and we all turned into shut-in sourdough bakers? Yeah, good times. Well, while we were busy perfecting our bread-making skills, TikTok was busy battling accusations of being a data-sucking Trojan horse for the Chinese government. India, not one to mess about, decided to take the bull by the horns and slapped a ban on the app. Fast forward to 2024, the US, never one to be outdone, decides to get in on the action. Enter stage left, a law designed to address those pesky national security concerns. The law, signed, sealed, and delivered by then-President Biden, basically gave TikTok an ultimatum: find a US buyer, or pack your bags. The deadline? January 19th, 2025. Now, you'd think with a deadline looming things would be moving along swiftly, right? Wrong. This is where it gets a little messy. Biden, perhaps sensing a political hot potato, decided to pass the buck to the incoming administration. That's right, folks, he left it to the new guy, the one and only, Donald J. Trump. And what does Trump do? Well, he's hinted that he might just ride in on a wave of executive orders and save the day. Or not. This is Trump we're talking about after all. Predictable, he is not. So there you have it. A potted history of TikTok's tumultuous journey to the brink of a US ban. It's been a wild ride, and frankly, we're all a little dizzy. News of TikTok's potential demise has sent shockwaves through the American public. It's like finding out your favorite burger joint is closing down. Okay, maybe not quite as devastating, but you get the idea. Reactions have been, to put it mildly, mixed. Some folks, especially those who get their news from, shall we say, alternative sources, are all for it. They've been suspicious of TikTok for a while now, convinced it's nothing more than a Chinese spying tool disguised as a social media app. Ban it, they cry, protect our precious data from those sneaky communists. Then there are those who are a little more, shall we say, measured in their response. They understand the national security concerns, sure, but they're not entirely convinced that banning an app is the answer. What about free speech, they ask? Isn't this a bit like censorship? And besides, they add, where else are we going to get our daily dose of cute animal videos and synchronized dance routines? And then, of course, there are the die-hard TikTokers. You know, the ones glued to their phones, scrolling through an endless stream of content. They're not happy, not one bit. For them, TikTok is more than just an app. It's a community, a creative outlet, a way of life. The thought of losing it is like losing a limb. Needless to say, the debate over TikTok's fate has ignited passions on both sides of the aisle. It's become a political football, a rallying cry, a symbol of the growing divide between those who value security above all else, and those who cherish freedom of expression. Just when you thought this whole TikTok saga couldn't get any wilder, hold on to your hats, folks, because it just did. Enter stage right, riding a wave of YouTube fame and philanthropic zeal, the one and only Mr. Beast. That's right, folks. Jimmy Donaldson, the man who made a fortune giving away money, has thrown his hat into the ring to buy TikTok. Now you might be thinking, Mr. Beast, buying TikTok? What's he gonna do, give away free followers? Well, stranger things have happened. Word on the street is Mr. Beast is serious about this. He sees it as a way to keep TikTok alive and kicking in the US, to save it from the clutches of those who would see it banned. He's even said he's willing to team up with other investors to make it happen. Now, whether he actually has the billions needed to pull it off is another story. But hey, you gotta admire the guy's chutzpah, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to see Mr. Beast take on the US government in a battle for the soul of TikTok? It's the kind of David versus Goliath story that dreams are made of. Section 5. A battleground of billionaires, the race to own TikTok. Hold your horses, folks, because Mr. Beast isn't the only one with his eye on the TikTok prize. This is a high-stakes game of digital poker, and there are some serious players at the table. We're talking tech titans, business moguls, the kind of people who could buy a small country with their pocket change. First up, we have Elon Musk, the real-world Tony Stark, who seems to collect companies like others collect stamps. He's already got his hands full with Twitter, or X, or whatever he's calling it these days, Tesla and SpaceX, but hey, what's one more acquisition, right? Word on the street is he's been sniffing around TikTok for a while now, and a little thing like a government ban isn't going to deter him. Then there's Mark Zuckerberg, the Zuck himself, the man who built a social media empire on the backs of our cat photos and vacation selfies. He's been trying to get his mitts on TikTok for years, seeing it as a threat to his beloved Facebook. He even tried to clone it with Instagram Reels, remember that? Well, now's his chance to finally get what he wants. And let's not forget about the old guard, the traditional media giants like Disney and Comcast. They're watching all this unfold with a mixture of fascination and fear. They know they need to adapt or die in this brave new world of digital entertainment, and TikTok could be their ticket to survival. So, there you have it, folks. A veritable who's who of the billionaires club, all vying for a piece of the TikTok pie. It's a feeding frenzy out there, and only time will tell who emerges victorious. Section 6. The Digital Iron Curtain, National Security versus Free Speech. This whole TikTok debacle isn't just about a bunch of teenagers making silly videos, no sir. This is about something much bigger, something that goes to the very heart of what it means to be an American in the digital age. We're talking about the delicate balance between national security and free speech. On the one hand, you've got the government, waving the flag of national security, warning us about the dangers of a Chinese company having access to our data. They paint a scary picture, folks, of our personal information being used against us, of our privacy being violated, of our very way of life being threatened. On the other hand, you've got the free speech advocates crying foul, claiming that this ban is nothing more than censorship in disguise. They argue that the government is overstepping its bounds, that it's setting a dangerous precedent, that it's chipping away at our fundamental freedoms. It's a tough one, folks, no easy answers here. Do we sacrifice some of our privacy in the name of national security, or do we stand up for our right to free expression, even if it means taking a risk? It's a question that's going to be debated for years to come, long after the last TikTok video has been uploaded. Section 7. The Human Cost of the Ban Creators in Crisis. Lost in all the talk of legal battles, political maneuvering, and billion-dollar buyouts is the very real human cost of this potential TikTok ban. We're talking about the creators, folks, the ones who poured their hearts and souls into building communities and sharing their talents with the world. For many of these creators, TikTok isn't just a hobby, it's a livelihood. They've built businesses on this platform, they've found fame and fortune, they've connected with millions of fans around the globe. And now, it's all at risk. Imagine, folks, pouring your heart and soul into something, building it from the ground up, only to have it ripped away from you overnight. That's the reality facing countless TikTok creators right now. They're worried about their future, about their income, about their very identity. Some are scrambling to find alternative platforms, migrating to the likes of Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. But it's not the same, folks. TikTok has a magic, a certain je ne sais quoi that's hard to replicate. Section 8. Beyond TikTok, a precedent for the tech world. The implications of the TikTok ban reach far beyond the confines of a single social media app. This is about something much bigger, folks, something that could reshape the tech landscape as we know it. We're talking about the growing tension between governments and tech giants, the battle for control of the digital realm. The US government's crackdown on TikTok sends a clear message to the tech world: play by our rules, or else. It's a message that's being heard loud and clear in Silicon Valley and beyond. Tech companies, once accustomed to operating with relative impunity, are now realizing that the days of unfettered growth and unchecked power may be coming to an end. This case also raises questions about the future of the internet itself. Are we headed towards a more fragmented world where different countries have different versions of the internet, separated by digital iron curtains? Or can we find a way to preserve a free and open internet while also addressing legitimate national security concerns? Section 9. The uncertain fate of TikTok, a waiting game. So what's next for TikTok? Will it be banned? Will it be sold? Will it somehow manage to thread the needle and survive in its current form? The truth is, folks, nobody knows for sure. We're all just along for the ride, watching with bated breath as this drama unfolds. The clock is ticking, the deadline is looming, and the stakes couldn't be higher. One thing's for sure though, whatever happens, the world will be watching. This is about more than just an app, folks. This is about the future of social media, the balance of power in the digital age, and the very nature of free speech in the 21st century. Stay tuned.